Wow, what a heavenly view. It's Life 24/7 coming to you today from the iconic, the beautiful and the healing waters of the Vaal River.
There is a way, there is a truth, there is a life worth living. There is a gift that keeps on giving, a little taste of heaven. Life 24/7.
I'm Kim and McFarlane, and I'll be traveling the country for the next 13 episodes of Life 24/7, finding sacred locations and beautiful churches. Why should Carlo get all the fun? But don't worry, he'll be keeping the home fires burning as he chats to an array of special guests in our Life 24/7 studios each and every week. So, on with the show. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and so today's show is appropriately titled God the Physician. Today we're bringing you the story of a brave woman who discovered that cancer, whether it's breast cancer or any cancer, has no respect for age, sex, color, or religion. Yet her testimony is one of how God saw her through her healing, and now she's helping others in their fight against cancer. There's also a new, lighter side of life that brings the funny side out of church signs. And Carlo chats to Dr. Carol Benn about cancer, God, and healing, and why being a Christian is less about the talk than it is about taking action. And we start off our new mini-series, Skepping, featuring Dr. Johan Kruger, a creationist and huge fan of God's designs. Pam Gummans thought she was out of the danger zone. She thought she was safe from breast cancer, but at the tender age of 72, she discovered a lump in her breast. 5 operations in 4 months taught her a lot about the disease, herself, and God. She says she felt God's presence from the day she stepped into the hospital until the day she was given a clean bill of health. And 2 years later, she has overcome, more determined than ever to give hope and aid to others like her.
As a trained hospice caregiver for 30 years, Pam Gummans was no stranger to cancer. And one day, at the age of 72, the stranger came knocking.
And I knew straight away what it was. Strangely enough, it didn't frighten me, it didn't worry me. I thought, okay, I know where I'm going. So immediately I phoned the dedicated mammography unit. Clinic, in fact, that I go to, which is Russell Cider at the Donald Gordon Hospital. And I said to Russell, look, I found a lump, I need to have a mammogram.
Pam had the mammogram and the ultrasound to find the tumor, and her doctors did a biopsy. 2 days later, the doctor called to say the tumor was malignant and she needed to go to Dr. Carol Benn.
And we had a long session with Carol. She explained everything. She told us everything that was going to happen. She likes you to have somebody with you because you can't take it all in. She tells you so much that you can't take it all in. So my husband was actually taking notes. And she said, no, you're going to have a mastectomy.
At that stage, they weren't sure what type of cancer it was. She went in for an MRI scan. They discovered it was a very aggressive cancer. Dr. Carol Benn advised Pam to remove both breasts. Pam's reaction to this news was unusual.
And I was thrilled, and I said to Carol, as long as I can have reconstruction immediately after the operation, she said, definitely. And I just accepted it. I thought, oh, well, I've obviously got cancer for a reason, and that's how I took it.
The first operation was to pinpoint where the cancer was. They discovered that it had not spread further throughout her body. It was only in her breast. The second operation was more traumatic.
And then, fortunately, my daughter and my husband were with me. And I think it was my daughter who picked up the blanket to put it over me or something. And she just saw blood. And this was at 8 o'clock at night. I'd had the op at 4 o'clock, and I'd just come out of theatre. And she called for the sister, and they had to rush me back into theatre because that breast was hemorrhaging. So they rushed me back into theatre, and they had to call the surgeon back again. They had to call the plastic surgeon back again. They had to open up the breast again and redo it and find where the bleed was. And then I only got back after 10. So that was quite traumatic. Not that I knew anything about it, I didn't, but my poor family knew about it.
Pam says her walk with God began the day she went into the Mill Park Clinic. Father Donald McLaughlin from her parish came to visit her.
It was the most amazing thing that ever happened in my life. To me, seeing Donald walk into that ward was God walking in. It was an incredible experience. And Donald came in, gave me a big hug and sat down. And Donald talked. He talked to me, and he was holding my hand and talking to me. And then they came to take me to the theatre. So Donald came with me. And Donald walked all the way with me to the theatre, and he stood with me in the theatre. He blessed me, and I was completely calm. I had no fear whatsoever. I didn't even have a pre-med at that stage, but I didn't need it. I was really fine. And then Donald went off. And all I can say was that was actually the beginning of my experience of God being by my side 24 hours a day. There's just no question about it.
Pam knew her parish were all praying for her, prayers that were very much needed.
When I came out of hospital, I felt as if I was in a cocoon, in a prayer cocoon. A lot of things went wrong, believe me. For instance, after the hemorrhage, infection set in, and they had to open up again. Then the prosthesis on the right side slipped, and they had to cut me under the breast this time and take the prosthesis out and put it back in again. So that was 4 operations already. But none of them worried me. I was totally calm.
However, Pam was left with a driving need to help other women. And while she was still in recovery, she approached the father of her parish with a request.
Anyway, I started my cancer awareness and support group by having speakers at the church every 6 weeks. Right the way through this, I just knew God was with me. And the first speaker I had was Carol Benn, obviously. And we had a crowd of 200 people, and it was absolutely amazing. It really was. The response we got from the church. We have a church of 3,500 people, and the response was amazing. Then I did my talk from the pulpit at the church on my walk with God and cancer.
Pam knows that there are no age restrictions to cancer, from the very young to the very old. Pam is now on a campaign of awareness.
Through one of the ladies at the church, I'm now fighting for the over 80s, because I've got one lady of 89 who was diagnosed. She went to a general hospital and they did a mammogram, and they said yes, she had multiple tumours in both breasts. On the Friday this was, she would have a mastectomy on the Monday. She broke down in church on Saturday night. I went to see her on Sunday. We phoned and we cancelled the surgery, and I took her to Carol Benn. Straight away, Carol looked at her results and said, definitely no surgery. So that was wonderful for me. And that started me on a roll. So I've got my 3 80-year-olds, and that's where I am at the moment.
Pam has always been someone who loves helping others. And in her words, she claims God allowed her to have cancer as a way to ultimately help others in need.
If I can help somebody else to get a better result than what I have got, then that's wonderful. That's all I want to do. And that is just God who's directing me that way. There's no doubt in my mind about it.
By his stripes you are healed. Amen. We take things so seriously sometimes that it's good to remember that God wants us to laugh. It's also good to see that those who serve in his name can turn a clever and funny phrase or two when it comes to calling us to his church. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about our lighter side of life, where we have a bit of a laugh with church signs. Enjoy.
Live 24/7.
Professor Carol Benn is a fellow of the College of Surgeons of South Africa with a special interest in breast disease. She is also recognized internationally in the field. Dr. Benn has paved the way for the improvement of women's health, has contributed towards the uplifting of women in society, and has opened channels for public awareness of breast health. She established numerous multidisciplinary breast centers in private and government sectors. Dr. Benn, welcome.
It's great to be here.
Thank you so much for having us. I believe that you had to leave the
operating theatre, but that's
operating
usual
theatre
for
to
my
be here
life.
with us.
Remember, I don't cook very well, so I've got to be able to do something else well. Okay, so it's nice to be here.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Now, in our modern age
Yeah.
of medicine,
Yeah.
Breast cancer, it's been said, should not be killing the number of women that it
Absolutely,
does.
100%.
Why is that?
Okay.
And what can we do, or what can women do to actually
Okay.
diagnose and prevent this?
So basically, it's about awareness and access to health. We need to
Okay.
be aware. So we said it could happen to anyone. The next thing we need to know is that what are you going to do? Because people don't come in for two reasons, either fear or ignorance. And that's really what I think Christianity is helps you deal with the fears that we all have. And ignorance is why we're here, to make changes and make people realize. So the message out there is, can happen to anyone. Just check your breasts. If you can and you're on a screening program, go for mammograms and ultrasounds. If not, if you're worried, you should have hopefully a contact number at the end of this, that people know how to access a service anywhere in the country, because that's really important.
Okay. Carol, on a more personal note, tell us about your faith in God. Where did that begin? And does it play a role in the work that you do?
Hugely. And that's the thing about your walk. Your walk is about what you're doing, okay? And it's not your works, okay? It's not what's visible, what you're doing. It's what you're doing that God sees. And oftentimes people think that, oh, well, because I'm a pastor, I can preach, and because I'm on TV, I can do this, and because it's getting that stage in your maturity in your Christianity to know that actually we all have something that we can do and give that is part of God's works, that are the right things, be it making cupcakes, be it working in a soup kitchen.
Do you believe in a real practical faith?
Absolutely practical faith.
Okay.
Practical faith, and non-judgmental faith.
Carol, when a patient receives bad news that they have breast cancer, what practical advice or comfort do you give them?
Okay, it's about how you do it. So I tell people that, you know, yes, this is a breast cancer, but it is something that we can manage and go little steps. When you get bad news, it's very hard to take it in. You are so scared and overcome that you think you can't take in what the doctor's saying. So I always say you must go to an appointment with a friend or someone in the family. You must make sure that what you are doing is giving people time to digest information. Never rush into any medical treatment. There is no such thing as an emergency mastectomy. If you are concerned in any way, go for a second opinion. Stop putting your doctors on a pedestal. Communicate with your doctors. Go one step at a time. I always meet the kids. I have a room full of toys, from Barbies to Star Wars to little bling balls, etc. Because breast cancer doesn't just affect the mom, it affects the whole family.
The whole family.
And you need to take cognizance of that.
So in the light of that, it's Breast Cancer Month.
Absolutely.
And what kind of message would you like to put out there for South Africa to know?
It is your body, it is your temple. What you want to do is know your body. But if you find something that you are not sure of, such as you find that you've maybe got a lump in your breast, don't do nothing about it. Come forward and seek help, okay? Whether you're on a medical aid or not, we have open clinics at Helen Joseph. You can just come on a Wednesday and a Thursday and we'll do the relevant tests. Most lumps are not cancer, okay? Okay. So we mustn't be fearful.
Well, Carol, thank you so much for being with us.
Pleasure.
I'm sure every person who's had questions regarding this has found some sort of comfort.
Good. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
After the break, Kim is standing by to bring you Dr. Johan Kruger's new miniseries on God's creation. Don't go away.
Life Creation Ministry South Africa, Dr. Johan Kruger is a zoologist who has a passion for the wonders of God's creation. He has made an appearance here on Life 24/7 before, and he's back with a new mini-series on Skepping. Part 1 is simply called Science.
In die tyd wat ons leef, baie keer vra mense, maar weet jy waar kom die wetenskap vandaan? En ek wil graag so 'n paar gedagtes deel, veral oor die kwessie dat as 'n mens gaan kyk, hierdie aanhaling van 'n baie bekende historikus wat gesê het, die wyshede van die ooste was nie verantwoordelik vir die opkoms van die wetenskap nie. Dit was uitsluitlik die werk van toegewyde gelowiges in 'n skepper God. En dan is dit baie belangrik, want hy sê daar is geen konflik tussen godsdiens, wat hy natuurlik bedoel die Bybel, en die wetenskap nie. Nou vir ons om dit te verstaan, moet ons dan net so bietjie baie kortliks gaan kyk na wat is die wetenskap. Nou die werk wat ek gedoen het as wetenskaplike was meer in die veld van die eksperimentele wetenskap, wat jy in die hede jou toets in die laboratorium doen, en eintlik kan ons sê dat God dit vir ons gegee het as 'n werktuig om uiteindelik medisyne te ontwikkel en man op die maan te plaas en so aan, en tot voordeel van die mens, en diere en plante. Aan die ander kant moet ons in gedagte hou, dis natuurlik die eksperimentele wetenskap. Maar aan die ander kant moet ons in gedagte hou dat daar ook die faset is waar iemand nou begin kyk na byvoorbeeld 'n vis in die rots en dan sekere vrae vra, maar ek wonder hoe daardie vis in die rots gekom het en hoe lank gelede dit was. So eintlik kan 'n mens sien dat daar tussen die eksperimentele wetenskap en die Bybel is daar geen konflik nie. Maar daar kan 'n konflik wees tussen die historiese of oorsprongswetenskap, want dit verwys na iets wat in die verlede gebeur het en wat natuurlik nou moet 'n bietjie van 'n storievertelling inkom. En ek dink ons kan dit goed so opsom as mense gaan kyk na die persoon op die linkerkant wat na die kreasionis is, met die Bybel as die beginpunt, en aan die ander kant die evolusionis met sê, maar die mens besluit self. Belangrik dat almal van ons daardie wêreldbeskouing het wat amper soos brille is wat ons opsit, en dan kyk ons na dieselfde getuienis en dan kom ons tot verskillende gevolgtrekking as gevolg van die verskillende wêreldbeskouing en voorveronderstellings wat ons het. So as 'n Christen wat vir Jesus Christus in my lewe het in my lewe ingekom en ek het hom aangeneem as my saligmaker, wil ek net vir u vra om saam met my vir 'n oomblik te gaan kyk wat die Bybel vir ons sê oor hierdie hele kwessie. God het die mens na sy eie beeld geskape, en ons is nie net in graad verskillend van die diere nie, maar in soort is ons verskillend. En ons moet in gedagte hou dat hierdie beentjies wat hulle kry en weer een of ander gemeenskaplike voorouder gaan beskryf, is maar eintlik net uitgestorwe ape of mense wat in die verlede geleef het. Maar daar is nie so iets soos 'n vermiste skakel nie, veral as ons aan die Bybel gaan kyk as die basis wat ons as ons basis, ons fundament. Nou vergelyk daardie faset nou wat die Bybel sê, gaan lees weer 'n bietjie Psalm 139, want u het my in my moeder se skoot geweef, wonderbaar is u werke. En ek dink dit is so belangrik dat ons weer teruggaan om te vergelyk wat sê die Bybel, en as 'n mens gaan kyk na die historiese of die oorsprongswetenskap wat eintlik dan maar 'n storievertelling is. So ek wil maar net miskien 'n gedagte los hierso, as jy daar by die huis sit en jy het 'n probleem daar waar niemand dit kan sien nie. As ons meer werd is as baie mossies en God weet van elke mossie, dan weet hy van u omstandighede daar by die huis. So hou dit in gedagte, gaan lees weer daardie gedeelte. Ek glo dat elke mens is uniek gemaak, maar ek glo ook dat niemand werklik die doel van hulle lewe kan by uitkom as dit buite Jesus Christus is.
Live 24/7.
We love bringing you Life 24/7, but we also like hearing from you. So please Facebook us, like us, and tweet us. We want to know what you think. Today we play out with Inyang enkului by the amazing Solly Mahlangu. Remember, God is the great physician who brings us back to health through his love and compassion. See you next time. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
He doesn't know it. Omlulami. You haven't heard of this one? Oh, Pansila. Nani. Lale. Yes. Lipi. Eli. Nika. Na. You know it? Esi. Sini. Sanga, Lola, Ali, Eli. Eli, Gache, Zulu. You know this one?
Wait a minute. I know the song Kasesut.
Oh. No. This one is in Zulu.
Kasesut.
It was created and composed by Zulu-speaking people.
Oh, Bita, Lera, Teha, Kile, Li, Teha, Kakang, Limu, Nati, Hali, Binwam, Kivatu, Vivito, La Che, So.
It's the same song. He's singing the song I'm singing. No. Sing it in Zulu. Sing it in Zulu.
You have to teach me in Zulu.
I'll try and do what you do when you teach
You
me.
started by saying, Lipi,
Igama.
Nigama,
La.
La.
Yes, it's in this song, Ala.
S-C-C-D, Soaga, Lo,
Ali Kwelinyigang.
Hali, Kwe.